Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global TV live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. The federal government and the consortium signed a memorandum of understanding on Thursday for the construction of 100,000 housing units across the country under a public-private partnership agreement, MOU, which Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa signed on behalf of the federal government. Would have the consortium provide construction finance and build the housing units to completion based on agreed housing designs and prices. Dangiwa said the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development would facilitate the provision of affordable mortgage loans to off-takers through the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, also disclosing that the ministry would also facilitate the approval and the grant of legal titles of select lands for the project across the country. The Senate has approved the extension of implementation of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill from 31st December 2023 to March 31st, 2024. The move comes after the leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, presented an amendment of the 2023 Appropriation Bill and the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Bill to allow for the life of the bill to extend beyond December 31st, 2023, as stipulated. Senator Bamidele explained that the 2023 Appropriation Act provided that the budget runs for 12 months from January 1st to December 31st, 2023. He noted that the funds for the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Bill are unlikely to be utilized if the capital implementation is not extended. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, put the bill to a voice vote after the third reading, where the senators affirmed its approval. The Supreme Court today upheld the election of Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State. The Apex Court, in a unanimous decision by a 5-man panel of justices, dismissed an appeal that the Labour Party and its candidate Chijioke Edeoga filed to challenge the outcome of the governorship election that held in the state on March 18. According to the Apex Court, it found no reason to dislodge the concurrent verdict of the Enugu State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and the Court of Appeal in Lagos, which dismissed all the allegations the appellants raised against the election victory of Governor Mbah of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And scores of people today stormed the government house, Port Harcourt and Rivers State, protesting against the presidential intervention in the political crisis rocking the state. The protest was also in solidarity with the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara. The protesters include students, youth, civil society organizations, labor unions, and members of the Hausa community in the state. They occupied the government house along Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt, as early as 7 a.m. And in an effort to maintain transparency, keeping the public informed, Vaccine Network for Disease Control, VNDC, has held a conference in Abuja to address the complexities of Nigeria's commitment to immunization funding and co-financing obligations, aimed at addressing associated challenges and unveil the strategic response to secure the future of critical health programs in Nigeria. Our health correspondent, Fauzia Lukman, tells us more.
Driven by the mission to save lives and money as a critical tool for achieving sustainable development goals as part of the Universal Health Coverage and Immunization Agenda 2030, The Vaccine Network for Disease Control called for addressing the complexities of Nigeria's commitment to immunization funding and co-financing obligations. In her remarks, Chika Ofo, founder of Vaccine Network for Disease Control, appealed to the Accountant General of the Federation to kindly approve the release of the immunization funds to ensure the seamless implementation of critical immunization programs.
If these funds are not released by 31st of December 2023, the funds will expire and cannot be used subsequently for procurement of vaccines and devices. We implore, we beg the Accountant General to consider the urgency of this matter and kindly grant approval to release the allocated funds. With her support, we can fortify our commitment to public health and continue the progress made in safeguarding our nation against preventable diseases.
Speaking on vaccine financing, accessibility and funding in Nigeria, the chair of Meaningful Adolescent and Youth Engagement, Olympus Adebanjo, said,
Government stakeholders need to align with the current president as he has decided to prioritize health, to actually act accordingly and release funds for this. So what we are talking about for 2023 is still very valid in making sure that there is vaccine in 2024. If this is not released, it will definitely jeopardize vaccine supply in 2024.
Speaking further on the projection of the budget on paper, Oyeyemi Pitu of the African Health Budget Network called on the federal government for fund release.
The issue is the release of the funds. So we know that budget is actually on paper, is a projection. What really is important is actually the release and utilization of these funds.
Highlighting the core value of the conference, the Initiative for Rural Development and Peace National Coordinator Ahambe Hope said,
Hospitals, when you visit homes of children with special needs, you would appreciate what we are talking about. Vaccine is the heart of health system strengthening. If you want to strengthen your health system in any country, your vaccine system, procurement, provision, and access must be top-notch.
Fauziya Lukman, Global TV News.
Many thanks, Fauziya, for that report. The Nigerian Navy Board has promoted a total of 58 senior officers to various ranks in the service. The breakdown of the promotion released showed that 28 Navy captains were elevated to Commodore, while 30 Commodores were promoted to the rank of Rear Admirals. The Director of Information, Commodore Adetoun Ayo Vogan, in a statement on Friday, said the board approved the promotions of the senior officers on Thursday. You're watching the news cycle live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news cycle returns, Naira scarcity, Nigerians to get sufficient cash by New Year, says Minister. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is Global Television bringing you a live broadcast of the news cycle. On the foreign scene, the United Nations says Gaza is at risk of famine if the war between Israel and Hamas continues. A quarter of households, roughly 500,000 people, are facing catastrophic conditions, a UN Food Security Agency found. It says the territory's entire population of roughly 2.2 million people are suffering acute food shortages. Humanitarian access is needed now for supplies to flow into and throughout Gaza, and for civilians to safely receive life-saving aid. The report was published on Thursday by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, IPC, a UN body that assesses the food security in places affected by conflict or natural disaster. Trucks have been bringing aid into Gaza from Egypt for weeks, but the World Food Programme, WFP, recently estimated that just 10% of the food needed is currently getting into the territory. The UN Security Council is meanwhile trying to agree on a vote calling for more aid to get into Gaza. The vote has been delayed for several days over the wording of the text. Zesh authorities sought a motive in a student's gun attack that killed 13 people at a Prague university, where tearful mourners have left a sea of candles to grieve for the victims. The gunfire on Thursday at the Charles University's Faculty of Arts sparked frantic scenes of students running from the attack that was the Czech Republic's worst shooting in decades. The gunman, a 24-year-old, killed himself after shooting dead 13 people and wounding 25 others. The government has declared a national day of mourning on Saturday, with flags on official buildings to be flown at house staff and people asked to observe a minute silence at noon. And on the business desk, investors are in an optimistic mood as the NGX this week has soared to new highs, indicates of a Santa Claus rally. This week, the NGX all-share index is appreciated by 1.39%, closing at 73,397.71 points as of December 2023, representing an all-time high in the market. Equities have also gained 551 billion naira this week, as the market's capitalization has appreciated above 40 trillion naira for the first time. The Santa Claus rally is a term used to describe a seasonal increase in stock prices that often occurs in the last weeks of December and extends into the beginning of January. It's named after the festive season and the idea that investors tend to experience a boost in stock markets during this time. The federal government on Thursday apologized to Nigerians over the current cash crunch nationwide, adding that the scarcity will ease in the coming year. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made this disclosure in a statement during a media briefing in Abuja. According to Idris, the current scarcity of the Naira note is not deliberate. He added that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is doing everything possible to address the situation, further emphasizing that there'll be more cash in circulation in the new year. In sports, the Super Eagles ended 2023 as Africa's 6th best team and 42nd in the world according to FIFA's monthly rankings. The year 2023 has largely been an impressive one for the Eagles, who suffered only one defeat but recorded 4 wins and 3 draws. On the African continent, Morocco retained their #1 spot and 13th in the world. They're followed by second-place Senegal, who also maintained their 20th place in the world. Tunisia also remained unmoved in the current ranking as they are placed 3rd in Africa and 28th globally. Algeria and Egypt, who completes the top 5 places in Africa, also finished the year in 30th and 33rd position in the world, respectively. And that's it on News Cycle, and came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.